Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another E-Heroes podcast. Today I have Ely, or E.
Ely
There you
Delaney.
go, Ely Delaney. And Ely is going to teach us how to be cool. Now, I have, this is one of these episodes where you're going to see that I'm not one of the cool kids, but when you associate with people like Ely, you learn to be in that circle of presence with all the other cool kids. So, welcome and thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thanks for inviting me, Rob. It's a pleasure. I mean, you and I have been connected for a long time, but we really haven't had a chance to talk before.
Yeah,
So
that's because I'm a nerd.
yeah, well, so am I. Yeah, I think I was listening. I don't know which show it was I was listening to. You were talking about binge watching Stargate, and I'm like, oh, I need to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I just
And if you notice that I'm a very sarcastic person, and I get a lot of that
hadn't noticed
from Richard Dean Anderson's character Jack O'Neill on Stargate SG-1.
Yep.
And so I'm a big sci-fi guy, and but everybody who looks at me and speaks at me and interacts with me, they're like, dude, you're the biggest asshole I ever met. And I'm like, okay, great. I was in San Francisco and I was pulling this sarcasm crap on somebody, and they're like, dude, you're an asshole. I'm like, winning. And the guy goes, what? And the thing is that now we became fast friends, which is kind of cool, but let's talk about that, because you interact with and I saw you have videos now where it's all cool people, which is kind of awesome.
My thing is about meeting cool people. It's not necessarily about being a cool person, although in the end of the day, you get guilt by association, which is kind of fun. I like that. But it is about how can we be more connected to more people and realize that, especially right now with everything that's going on right now, it's huge opportunity, because we have these things that we carry with us 24/7. But instead of using the technology to do what it's designed to do, which is to connect us more efficiently, we have turned it into something to, how can we watch the latest cat videos? Now, I know Adam Homey, who's a really good friend of mine as well. So yes, for him to watch cat videos is pretty normal. Just had to throw that in there. But we are more connected, but we're more disconnected at the same time. And so the meet cool people thing, it's kind of my movement, essentially, is something I've been doing for just about a year now. And the whole point behind it is make a concentrated effort to connect with people that you can help, that you can serve them, and can help you as well. It's a two-way street. It's got to be a win-win situation where you go into it figuring out, okay, how can we make our lives better together? And I've done that my entire life. I didn't realize what it was until literally about a year ago, because I was on a speaking event that I was actually speaking in Miami, and I live in Portland, Oregon. So I was flying to Miami every month to speak at this event. And it was funny because they always started the event with, what's your name? What do you do? And what do you want to get most out of this week? And they would have all the attendees, but then they had the speakers say that as well. And I would say, I'm Ely, I'm an automated system strategist, and I'm just here to meet cool people. And it became a thing. And so that's kind of what my thing is all been about. I do a virtual happy hour where I just invite people to come in. It's like, okay, what can we do to share? If you got something to complain about this week, something that's going bad, share it with us. Let's see if we can help come up with a solution for you. It's kind of the mastermind concept, only we make sure we have drinks, and just have a good time with it, because reality is the people that you meet are going to get you anywhere you want to go. I do take a different approach than you do. You go in trying to see if you can be an asshole, but I think that's fun, and that's part of your personality. There's nothing wrong with it, as long as it's genuine. But I think you do it differently, though, because I know some people, they're true assholes. I mean, they really are. Okay, I have interacted with you. I've seen the kind of stuff that you post. I've listened to your podcast. You do it differently. You can be sarcastic. I have a very sarcastic streak in me. I mean, I taught my daughter the meaning of sarcasm at the age of 5, and it bit me in the ass at the age of 6. But it's not about being a jerk. It's about being you.
Mhm.
And I would put faith in the fact that at the end of the day, if you and I got to know each other and we became really good friends, even though you call your self-proclaimed asshole, if I actually really needed some help,
Oh,
you're the kind of person I think I could trust. And
yeah,
that's what it's really about. It's
yeah.
you're the kind of person that you could count on when it really counted.
Well, and the thing is that over the last decade, I think I've looked at who I am, what I do, and how I affect people. And I've written all these great books. Social
Mhm.
media, SEO.
Mhm.
I've helped lawyers and doctors, and those are all serious books.
Mhm.
And they come out and they teach you something, but they don't have a lot of my personality in it.
Right.
So when I came out with Rob versus the Scammers and Rob versus the Morons,
Which are awesome.
they were all sarcasm.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, the people who read those books, even though indirectly, there is nothing in there that says, "Hey, this is what Rob does,"
Mhm.
for a living. They pick up, they're laughing through the whole book, so then they call
Mhm.
me. We want your help.
Yeah.
You know, so I've been more and more, pouring on that sarcasm, that sometimes it can go a little further than that, and I become that asshole. But I do it for a couple of reasons,
Mhm.
and one, if it turns you off right away, you're not a client that I want to deal with.
Exactly.
If it makes you laugh and
Mhm.
you think I'm cool, guess what? You're going to spend a lot of money with me,
Yeah.
and that's just great. That's how you can, you know, kind of differentiate yourself.
Yeah, well, and that's what it really is, and everything we do. So what I work with clients primarily in now with them is our follow up processes. We have a program called the Follow Up Rockstar, and everything that we do is based around how do you build a better relationship by following up with the people that you meet, your prospects, your clients, your referral partners, all these people, because we meet literally hundreds, sometimes thousands of people, but we have to stay in touch with them because if we don't, we lose that top of mind awareness. That's basic marketing 101. But the difference is you have to have your personality into it. You have to be you.
Mhm.
And that's what stands out. And by you doing that with the books, that's a great way for people to get a taste of who Rob really is, because you're right, and you're dead on in that fact of, if somebody's offended by the things that you post or what's in your books and stuff, you're not going to want to work with them anyway, because they're going to be a pain. And that's, I have that, and I have some people who, some of the things that I've said, they'll come to me, it's like, I don't know if you should be saying that. I was like, well, that's me though. That's my personality. And I'm not as gruff as you are. I tend to be the nice guy in the corner of the room that people come and want to just talk to and get away from everybody else. That's more of my personality.
Yeah.
But I do have a sarcastic streak.
They,
I,
they
I
go
come
they go to you after after
Yeah,
time.
they'll come to me and say, "Okay, who's that asshole over there?" But we have, it's everybody has their own personality, and you've got to put that out there. And like for me, I'm a much more casual person in my conversation. So like when I write emails, I do a lot of email copy, and that's where a lot of my marketing comes into play. And it's really funny because people talk about email marketing being dead, and I'm like, well, reality is that the people that are saying that, it's because their emails suck. Reality, but you put your personality into it. You write it like you're going to write a letter to a friend. And that you come from a copywriting background. I know who you've hung out with in the Dan Kennedy and Joe Polish world. That's just where we came out too.
Yeah.
Um, that's how you should be doing it. And what ends up happening is, like, somebody gets an email from me, it starts with, "Hey there," because that's part of my conversation. When I walk up to somebody, I'm like, "Hey there, how's it going?" You know, I think even when you and I were messaging back and forth, that's probably how I started, because that's part of my personality.
Mhm.
And I think that right now we have such an opportunity to really show our true personalities and build better relationships and grow our businesses
Mhm.
by doing that, because So many people, I mean, I think it's the running joke right now is that the best blessing we've had with everything that's going on right now is now we can know all these different companies that we've been on their list for years because we've never heard of them. They didn't follow up with us, and all of a sudden they care about our safety. It's a
Yeah,
great way to be able to cleanse and unsubscribe from everything.
yeah,
Um, and I had even my local car dealership. They sent us a message, and right at first, it was somewhat heartfelt on the things that they're doing in their shop and things like that. But then it says, "Oh, and by the way, now's a great time. We'll even give you 120 days to not make a payment." And
yeah,
I'm like, "You just turned what was already a stuffy, boring corporate email, but had some true feeling to it, into a pitch. You just lost me."
yeah,
And that's the key. We got to get away from that, because guess what? It's coming from the car dealership. I know that they have cars. They
yeah,
don't need to tell me that.
yeah. I've received thousands of emails
Hmm.
about coronavirus, COVID, whatever it
Yep.
is, and this is the steps that we're taking, and I'm
Hmm.
like, okay,
Right.
great, but you haven't really interacted with me over the last year, so I don't really give a crap. Delete, delete, delete,
Uh huh.
block, unsubscribe.
Yeah.
I send out daily emails to my clients, and I don't think I've sent one out that says this is what I'm doing, because you know what? I work from home every day,
Yeah.
or I'm on the road, or I'm take my laptop somewhere, or I'm speaking here. You know what? If I see that word one more time, you know what? Someone's going to get
Yeah.
punched in the face because I'm
Yeah. I
tired
mean,
of it.
what would be great is if you send an email. It's like, here's where I'm doing in order to help your safety in the COVID. I'm staying at home and staying the hell away from you. You
Which is
know,
what I do every day.
exactly. For you to say that, that would make perfect sense. And your people, I'll bet you anything, would get a kick out of it and love it, because that goes along with your personality. And that's what we're talking about. It's the personality piece, adding that kind of stuff in there. Because right now that's what people need. People don't need a sale. I'll be honest. One of the things that I'm seeing right now is people that are giving away, things that they're charging $1,000, they're giving away for $97, and I'm like, you can't do that. You're killing yourself.
Yeah.
And
Now,
and
I
you know,
I did a I did a thing with my books where you know uh, if you bought a bundle of books,
hmm,
but I was
I
going
think
to
I saw
donate.
that.
I was going to donate that money anyway
Right.
to buy groceries for some of my clients who are not working, who
Hmm.
needed it. So there was a benefit there. I
Yeah.
wasn't making any money,
Right.
but there are way too many people that they're giving away their stuff, which is going
Hmm.
to make it harder when this crisis is over to
Yeah.
actually sell, your courses, your packages, your books.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't. I get that, because I understand that desperate mode, but you realize it just cheapens yourself. And now, I mean, something that we have done is we have taken like our primary package, and I've taken a chunk out of it and made an offer out of that piece. But it's value for value still. It's not taking this and selling it for this.
Yeah.
We change that down to what can you do to help. I mean, one of the things I mentioned, the virtual happy hour we're doing. Well, I mean, that's essentially, they're people that join us for that. I'm giving them free consultations essentially,
Hmm.
and they get the idea of being part of a mastermind where everybody's bouncing ideas off for that person as well. So they're getting a ton of value. I'm not charging for that. I do that just because it's fun. That's how we can give back.
Hmm.
Different ways of things like that. But it still boils down to add your personality and be yourself, and make sure, don't send people something about how you care about their safety. Just send them a message and say, hey, just want to check in, see how you're doing,
Yeah.
and leave it at that. Don't make it complicated. And the funny thing is, that's something I've been teaching people to do anyway.
Hmm.
So that's what we've been talking about for the last decade, is those kind of things are what will make a difference. It's not.
And you've been teaching this stuff for a long time, because you
Yeah.
started out, with the whole your marketing university. Then you
Mhm.
shifted into the rock star mode, and now the cool people mode, which is kind of really cool, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs out there don't know how to shift.
Yeah. you we've gone through several, evolutions, as I like to call them. Our very first one, my previous company was web and graphic design agency. I had that, was very successful. From literally started off with myself working out of a dining room, grew to the point where I had 5 employees. I had an office. We were closing 3 to 5 contracts a week. And the mass majority of those were all within a 20-mile radius. We were crushing it. Then I realized I didn't like employees or having an actual office, and neither of those worked well for me. So yeah. So, but then I got into the teaching side because we were building websites for people, and then they wanted to be able to update basic things themselves. And I can understand not wanting to pay $100 to change a price on a page. I get that.
Yeah.
So I started doing classes and realized I fell in love with it. I loved it. And so that's where we started YMU. That still runs. I don't promote it as much, but it is still out there. It's a ton of training for business owners that are just trying to get their feet wet, and they don't really have a budget to hire anybody like us to actually do it for them. Then that's a great place for them to learn. But then what ended up happening was we started actually having clients that wanted us to fully do a bunch of stuff for them. And as a speaker, I was creating these follow-up systems because I knew I was speaking. And if I wasn't getting the sale right then at the end of that presentation, the mass majority of those people were walking away. And I was like, this is a problem. That's not working. And so I started building systems. And then we started having other speakers going, hey, wait a minute. I see what you're doing over here. Who's your guy? I'm like, well, we're doing that. And they're like, okay, cool. How much? And that opened up an entire new business for us, essentially. And that's what we've been doing for the last 12 years.
And you touch on systems, and I think some people get confused with systems versus automation. And
Mm-hmm.
Lately, what I've been seeing is the automation is killing relationships because,
Mm-hmm.
everybody says, well, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to put everything in that chat bot.
Yeah.
You know what? No, when that interaction goes between, two or more conversations, have them pick up the phone or,
Mm-hmm.
go to
Yeah.
an email or do something, get them off that chat, get that human interaction going.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I am an automation guy. Most of what we do is based around setting up automation in place. But the idea is that these are the things that you can automate, because otherwise, left to your own demise, you will get busy. You will have fires happen in your daily life. You'll get sick. You'll have vacations, and you will forget. That's just because you're human. And so we automate what we can, with the reasoning of actually spending real time on the real relationships, because you can't automate those. And that's a really big piece of what we do. Is the relationship might start in an automated fashion, but as soon as that person hits reply, we're in a dialogue. This is a real conversation. I don't do much on chatbots. I know they're really powerful, and I'm going to be playing with some more stuff to utilize them. But again, it is still that same thing. You can use them for certain things.
Yeah.
As a great example, I'm going to be using that as a tool to help with getting invites for our happy hours and stuff like that. So I'm not manually copying and pasting the link 500 times.
Right.
Things like that, we'll use it for stuff like that. But reality is, when somebody replies back, that's going to be me on the other end.
Yeah.
Because
And I
that's
have
the
it set up.
relationship.
I have it set up on our website and some of our clients' websites that it actually goes right to their Facebook business page.
Mm-hmm.
And we have one or two automations, and that's it. Then after that, it has
Mm-hmm.
to go to a real person.
Yeah.
Because what I find is that then you have all these leads that are just piling up in your
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, and if you don't answer them within
Yeah.
so many days, they're dead leads.
Right.
You
Well,
gotta
and
really respond.
yeah, and the thing is that you've got to build the relationship in a long-term scenario. Don't think a couple of days or a week or a month or even a year. I'm talking years down the road. So, when we're talking about automations, I have follow-up systems that built literally. I have one system that runs for 3 years. You come into the front end of my system, you're going to get stuff for 3 years. I always have my running joke. My girlfriend hates it when I say this. I could literally go outside and get hit by a bus today. I'm still going to sell you shit for 3 more years. Um,
And I have
but
blog posts like that now scheduled till
yeah,
2 years
well, exactly.
from
It's the same.
now.
It's the same basic thing. You just schedule them out so they do that, and they just work automatically. But here's the thing: is that when somebody gets one of those messages and they reply back, that does go to me. That starts the dialogue. We have a conversation. And reality is that I would love to send that message to each and every person, but I just don't have the time. And so I have the automation that takes care of that. But here's the power of doing it when you do it right is that first off, those are not newsletters. I hate newsletters. Nobody wants a newsletter. Um, you've got to build a relationship with it. It should feel like it came from you. And I've actually had, not even that long ago, it's maybe a year ago, I had a book that I recommended. I recommended The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino.
Hmm.
And that's one of them that's in my list.
And that's an old
And
book too.
it's an old book. It's a beautiful book. And anybody that's in business whatsoever, I always recommend they do that. Well, I was manually telling this to people. I'm like, why don't I just put this into my autoresponder and then I can make sure that everybody gets this referral. And so it was part of my system. And I had somebody who I had actually known for, God, I've probably known her for close to 20 years. She's a photographer. And she actually took headshots of me bazillions of years ago, back when my hair was very different than it is now. And all of a sudden I get this reply back. She's like, hey, thank you so much for the recommendation of this book. I've really been struggling a lot lately and I almost closed my doors. But I picked up the book, I read it, it re-energized me. It got me on the right track. And I feel very confident about this again. Thank you so much. That made me stop and go, okay, this is why we do it this way, because I may not have recommended that book to her otherwise, just because I didn't think about it or I didn't have time or whatever, because you can't do that with everybody you meet. But the timing was perfect that she got that book and she got the email. She went and bought it. She read it over like the next day and she replied back to me. And that ended up opening up a conversation between the two of us. But I just saved her business with an automation that I had written 2 years earlier.
Mhm. You know, I send out daily emails, and
Hmm.
yesterday I just sketched out. Let's see, this is my August
Nice.
daily email. So
Hmm.
as of this recording, which is in April, all the Aprils are done, the Mays are done, the Junes are done, the Julys are done. Now, I'm writing these August emails, and people
Hmm.
are like, you know, some days it's just something motivational,
Hmm.
something, sometimes it's, I share these e-heroes episodes with them. It's always
Hmm.
something
Yeah.
new. And sometimes people will say, well, I needed that quote, thank you very much. And maybe
Hmm.
it's just that quote, and it was very simple, very powerful.
Yeah.
Other times it could be something I wrote on my blog that's 1,000 words long, and I might share the first 200 words and say, hey, if you want to learn more, here's the link, and I get them to
Hmm.
come back. But it's always something different, and people
Yeah.
are like, well, why do you do that every single day? Because that just annoy people? I said, yeah,
No,
well, the people that are
not if.
annoyed usually leave, and then the people that
Hmm.
really want it stay. And I've been
And
doing it for a couple years.
that's an important piece right there. See, that's the thing is that people are always afraid of mailing too much or promoting too much, all that kind of stuff. Well, promoting all too much, yes,
Mhm.
but it's not. You can stay in front of them without promoting. That's the
Yeah.
key difference there. And here's the fun thing about this is that I'll bet you, you have people on your list that they get those emails every single day, and they don't have time to read all of those emails, but they don't stop and hit unsubscribe because they know there's value in it. And I have people that do that actually email me daily, and I don't unsubscribe because I know that there's content in there, there's valuable stuff, and I may not get to it, but I hope to get to it at some point. And I probably have 500 emails from one person, that I haven't gotten to, but I won't unsubscribe because the day that I stop and open it up, I know I got value out of that. But if I
Mhm.
hit unsubscribe, I wouldn't get that anymore.
Yeah.
So those people may not read every single email you're sending out, but they're getting the value out of the ones that they are, and really, that's what we're hoping for.
Mhm. I noticed that on your Facebook, you do bow and arrow,
Archery.
yeah, archery. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
that's my hobby.
it's been a long time since I did that, and I used to have a Hoyt Easton compound bow,
Hmm.
um, and this was going back 30 years,
Oh
and
wow! So that's
I,
old school.
old school, because I don't even think they make Hoyt Easton bows anymore. One of them, I think
Yeah,
one
I
of them
know.
failed.
Yeah, well, he's Hoyt is still around. I don't. I
Yeah.
do traditional. I don't do compounds.
So you do
Um,
the recurve.
I do a longbow. I
Longbow.
actually shoot
Wow.
an actual longbow. So yeah, we call it the struggle stick because it's pretty much a stick and a string. There's not much else to it. Yeah, and I do tournament stuff and everything, and it's a lot of fun. It's my zen time. It's how I can get away from everything, clear my head.
So, what do you recommend for others? I mean, because as an entrepreneur, there's my Zen time is actually going out and mowing my lawn. And people are like, "Well, Rob, you're crazy. Just pay someone to do it." For one, I
Hmm.
could do that, but I get exercise while doing it, and
Hmm.
I have my headphones on, listening to my music. I come
Right.
up with the greatest ideas, and it's just for me, it's
Right. Well,
it's a
and
great
that's
time.
so, and everybody is different. So I'm in the boat of I think you're crazy. But that if you do enjoy that, and that is your time to reflect, or your time to just get away and unplug from the computer, or yeah, that time to catch up on podcasts or whatever it is, and you enjoy it. That's the key. Is you have to enjoy it, then do it. If we live closer, I'd be happy to let you come over and mow my lawn. Because
That's a long
for me,
commute.
yeah, yeah, because for me, that is my least favorite thing in the world to do. And I just had to do it this weekend. It was horrible, like hour. but we all need to have something, and and it is, there's nothing wrong with being a workaholic. For many years I was, and so people ask me, what do you do for fun? And I said, read marketing books. And they'd look at me like I was completely bonkers, which I kind of was, and I don't know that that's that much different now. But if you enjoy it, then do it. For me, archery was the first hobby that I picked up in a very long time, actually, and I didn't pick that up until 4 years ago, maybe a little over now. And then I went, just like being an entrepreneur, I jumped in full on. I didn't just get into archery. I got into archery. I took some lessons. I found out two things. One was that the people teaching those lessons should not have been doing that. They should not be allowed near small children in any way, shape, or form because they're dangerous. And the second thing was that I loved it. So I got into it. I then got into string making, which ended up being a side business purely because it's fun. I don't make hardly anything at it, but the cool thing about it is I have strings, like custom strings that I make for professionals, for tournament people all over the country, and I do that for fun. Um, I got certified as an instructor. I do tournaments. I actually just found out about 3 weeks ago that I came in first place for the Northwest sectional. So in the longbow division, I came in first place, which is kind of cool. Um, but it's purely a hobby. It is just for fun. It's my way to get away from the computer because I spend so many hours sitting here in front of a computer that's what I can do. And if you've ever been to the Pacific Northwest, there's all kinds of places, forests everywhere. There's waterfalls everywhere. I mean, I literally live 15 minutes from the second largest waterfall in the country. It's a good way to just get away and relax. And I always like to say, like, the Northwest is a great place to hide if you want to get away from the rest of the world.
Yeah, I
Um,
I gave up archery because I got tired of hunting my arrows.
Yeah, and I totally understand that one. I did find early on that if you're going to do that thing where you walk around and you are in the forest and everything, always make sure you go in a group of at least 5 people because it makes it much easier. Um, very first time I tried that, I went out by myself and shot an 80-yard shot, which I had no business doing. I could barely hit the target at 10 at that point, and I spent an hour looking for one of my first brand new arrows, and I was so frustrated after that. But I got over it, and now I shoot distance shots. I was just out shooting 50 yards just yesterday, as a matter of fact. But you just, like anything, it's a skill. Doesn't matter what it is. I know people who get into yoga, and when they first start in yoga, they complain about the fact they can't do any of the moves, and their body doesn't bend that way. Well, no, it's not going to. That's the whole point of doing it, so you can get it to do that. But the key is you got to have fun with it. That's no matter what it is. I'm a big fan of, you got to have fun with what you're doing in your hobbies, and it doesn't matter if that is business related or hanging out with friends or whatever it is. Um, and in your business, you got to have fun as well.
Yeah,
I've always had that. Even with my first business, I had one rule when I did have those employees. I actually had one rule. I said, here's my most driving thing with you coming in. I'm offering you a position, but I have to know If you get to a point where you are not having fun, you need to get the hell out. And that was my rule. And, when I did decide to change the way I ran my business, like I said, I didn't really care for employees or my office. I came to that point and I sat them all down and I said, here's the deal. We are running super inefficient. I'm finding out, things like one of them was actually freelancing for somebody else while I was out making sales. So I'm paying her to do her chiropractor's website. Somebody else was late every day, like an hour late every day. I mean, just all these different things. I was like, you guys all know the rule. What's the rule? And I had them basically repeat the rule. If you're not having fun, get the hell out. And I said, well, here's the problem. I'm not having fun and it's my business.
Yeah.
So I have to fix the problem to make it fun. So I don't have to completely shut down my business. So bye-bye, you're all fired. And that's pretty much how it happened. There was a long haul to get to that point. So I wasn't just being mean, but you have to have fun. You have to enjoy what you're doing, because if you don't, no matter what it is, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to take you longer. It's going to cause a lot of problems on your health. I had almost 7 years ago, I ended up having a hospital scare, ended up with a blood clot going to my kidney. And it took me out of commission for a month because of it. And it was because I was stressed out. I was working too much. I was not enjoying what I was doing. And it needed a big shift. Yeah. And my body told me that. And now I love what I do. I enjoy it so much. I love speaking. I'm bummed about what we're doing right now with not being able to go anywhere, because I love speaking in live audiences, but I'm making up for it. I mean, I'm doing podcasts, I'm doing virtual summits. I mean, at least a minimum of 2 a day of all these virtual events. And then that's what's at least keeping me going.
Yeah. So how do people find you? Where do they go?
Easiest way, go to Facebook, connect with me. Here, do me a big favor. If you're going to connect with me, send me a message and say that you heard me on the show. That's huge. That makes a big, big difference. Again, with that relationship thing, I have at least 15 friend requests sitting there waiting for me right now. Any one of them, if they had sent me a message, would already have been replied to. That's one way. The other thing, you can go to connectwithely.com. It is ELY. Connectwithely.com. And that's like kind of a hub. You'll just connect to all my other websites. You can see my archery site. You can see our business stuff. I got a cool webinar that I'm doing on follow up, all that kind of fun stuff. And you can connect with me on all the other social media sites there.
And that's what makes him an e-hero. Not only is he great at business, marketing, but he's also, the next Green Arrow.
Yeah. You can have fun with that. Yeah, he's still faster than me.
Yeah, a little bit.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, Rob. This has been fun.
This is great. So, catch us on the next episode. Well, catch me in the next episode. And down the road, we'll bring Ely back and we'll talk further on some other great stuff. So, until next time, chat with you guys later.